Good morning to our today's expert, Dr. Vahid from Lisbon. I know it's early morning over there and maybe it's bothering your weekend. Anyways, let's start with the official proceedings of this lecture. On behalf of Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management family, I, Dr. Jeet Dogra, coordinator of International Web Lecture Series, welcoming to all the participants across the world who are with us on this virtual platform to attend this lecture. As today's is lecture number 5 and we are midway of this ongoing International Web Lecture Series, just for the information, till now we received nearby 1900 registrations from national and international participants. I am welcoming our today's expert, Dr. Vahid Ghasemi from Universidade Europeia in Lisbon, Portugal, who will deliver his lecture on destination marketing during and after COVID-19 and insight for Indian tourism sector. Today, we are feeling extra motivated to have the auspicious presence of our Director IITTM, Professor Alok Sharma. Now, I'm requesting Director Sir to deliver the welcome speech. Over to you, sir.
Coordinator of the International Web Lecture Series, and it is indeed a pleasure to know that today we are in halfway of this program, where national and international participants are showing their keen interest to motivate the efforts of whole IITTM family. Moreover, from the IITTM family and also on behalf of Indian tourism stakeholders, I am welcoming Dr. Vahid Ghasemi from University of Europe in Lisbon, Portugal, for delivering his lecture on an important area of destination marketing during and after COVID-19 in tourism. To gain competitive advantage, India since independence has put efforts to showcase its tourism assets, but lack of attract the international tourists. Thereafter, the launch of campaign like Incredible India for international tourists and Dekho Apna Desh for domestic tourists is implementing the phenomenon of destination marketing. Under the able leadership of Honorable Union Minister of Tourism and Culture, Shri Prahlad Singh Patel ji, India as a tourism destination is improving its visibility on a tourist map. Honorable Tourist Minister has recently launched the multilingual Incredible India website, Indian Culture Web Portal, and the latest decision to open all the centrally protected monuments by completing abiding COVID-19 safety protocols are few of the visionary steps towards facilitate marketing and promotion of Indian tourism, as well as also help the restart tourism in India. IITTM as a national apex body in tourism education and training has taken various steps during this crucial COVID-19 time, specifically to provide e-training to various state tourism boards and to protect and to prospective students, which will serve the Indian tourism in future. Not taking much of the time, I am along with the other participants are looking forward towards today's lecture, and I am sure, like the past lectures, this lecture too will enhance the knowledge when Dr. Vahid will share the international perspective of destination marketing. Thank you, everyone, and over to Dr. Jeet to continue the proceedings. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your words of wisdom, Director Sir, and also aware us about the various initiatives taken by Honorable Minister of Tourism, Government of India, due to which we'll be able to restart the Indian tourism with full energy and zeal. Thank you, sir. Now, I'm introducing today's international expert, Dr. Vahid. Dr. Vahid Ghasemi is working as a Faculty of Tourism and Hospitality at the European University of Lisbon, Portugal. He's also a research fellow in the Center for Advanced Studies in Management and Economics. And just for the information, this center is one of the reputed in Europe. He has published papers in several tourism and hospitality journals, such as Journal of Destination Marketing and Management, Tourism Analysis, Antalya, published by Taylor and Francis, European Journal of Tourism Research, and book chapters in Bridging Tourism Theory and Practice book series published by the renowned Emerald. He has also presented papers in the various international conferences, and his research work has been published in the conference proceedings. As destination marketing is an amalgamation of communicating the attributes of a tourist destination to the potential tourist and form their destination preference, every destination marketer's objective is to put his destination into the final consideration decision set of avid potential tourists. Therefore, today's topic is vital for the minds drafting the destination marketing strategies. With these words, I'm again welcoming Dr. Vahid to deliver his talk, and also welcoming once again our Director IITTM, international expert, and all the tourism stakeholders over this virtual platform. Now, over to Dr. Vahid to start the lecture.
Hello everybody. Good afternoon. I'm so happy to be with you today. I would like to first of all thank you, Dr. Jeet, for this warm welcoming, and I would like also take this opportunity to thank Professor Sharma for the great speech and introduction, and I also would like to welcome all the participants and the experts for this lecture. So it's an honor and pleasure to be with you today, and I would like to go through the today's lecture. I'm going to share my screen with you now. Okay, Dr. Jeet, do you have my screen?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, today's, as Dr. Jeet indicated, mentioned today's topic, we are going to speak about the destination marketing during and after COVID-19, and we will also discuss some insights for the Indian tourism sector. Professor Dr. Jeet introduced me. My name is Vahid Ghasemi. I am an assistant professor at the European University of Lisbon in Portugal, or Universidade Europeia, as we call it here in Portuguese. And also I am the coordinator of the International Master's Program in Tourism Management. We have several and different international students in our campus for the degrees. In terms of my educational background, I have done my PhD in the Department of Economics and Business at the University of Cagliari, which is in Italy, and I was mainly focused on the tourism management area. For this lecture, I'm going to speak about some topics. I'm going to give you the introduction for these topics. First of all, I'm going to speak about the published long-term research papers in crisis management and recovery, taking a look at some of the researches and some lessons from the previous experiences in the pandemic or the crisis situations. And then I'm gonna speak about some good practices and some of those destinations during the COVID pandemic crisis, some strategies taken by them. Then I'm going to discuss the recent COVID-19 managerial decisions within some of the countries, and mainly in the European Union and some other different countries, that what they have decided to do in this crisis. and also some recommendations for India's tourism would be the other topic. And at the end, I'm going to give some reading, some information that you can explore more on the topic that we are going to discuss. So first of all, let's look at some lessons from the academic researches. In the researches, I have searched and researched some of those specific and very related topics to our today's situation. And I think that one of them is very related and can be helpful for our situation. The crisis communication and recovery for the tourism industry. This is a research which has been published in the Journal of Travel and Tourism Marketing. It is lessons from the 2000 foot and mouth disease outbreak in the United Kingdom, which was happened in the around 2001, and it describes some of the important and useful information and perspectives for the destinations and the tourism recovery. In this research, they introduce a model which is the crisis life cycle, and they try to use 3 different researches in order to show 6 different stages of every crisis. These 6 stages, the first one start with the pre-event, and that is along with the other researchers as well, and they describe as where action can be taken to prevent disasters. For example, like growth management planning for plans aimed at mitigating the effects of the potential disaster. So this could be done before starting any kind of crisis. The second is prodromal, which is when it becomes apparent that the crisis is inevitable. And the third stage or phase is the emergency phase, and that is the point of no return when the crisis has hit and damage limitation is the main objective. So which we actually more or less different destinations, different countries are in different stages of these phases. And the fourth is the intermediate. Intermediate phase is the when the short-term needs of the people must be dealt with the restoring utilities and essential services. The objectives at this point being to restore the community to normality as quickly as possible. And also after this, we have the long-term recovery, which is the chronic stage, and we need to cope with the we need to cope with the crisis, damages, and so on, the cleanup, post-mortem, self-analysis, and healing. And at the end, we have the resolution that in that point, we have the routine restored or the new improved state, and we need to follow all the requirements of these stages. So these 6 stages are the different crisis life cycles in one destination or one country. In this study, one of the most important things that is recommended by the authors is that every destination, every country needs to have the crisis communication plan for each crisis. And it introduces 5-point crisis communication plan in order to respond to any crisis. The first point is that the action should respond, the actions could be quickly, the response could be quickly, and develop first the two stakeholders. So this will reduce the misinformation and help develop a consistent message. So the first point of every communication plan is the responding quickly in order to maintain a good two-way communication between the all the stakeholders and media. The second is the giving the instructing information such as what happened, when it happened, where it took place, and how it occurred. Also discussion of the precautions the stakeholders should take and what corrective action is being undertaken. The third point for the communication plan, the crisis communication plan, is that consistency in developing the communication plan and key messages, including discouraging any unofficial spokesperson. So the consistency between the different bodies of the management would be very important aspects in terms of crisis communication plan. The fourth is the openness and accessibility, including availability of spokespersons and generating a willingness to discuss information and being honest. And at the end, expressing the sympathy to victims. So these are the 5-point crisis communication plan that we need to consider when we want to use it. So what about the crisis communication in the tourism industry? What we need to consider according to these researchers? First of all, the importance of the destination image and marketing. It is very important to know that the destination image would be very important for the future of the industry, and we need to preserve it by our strategies. So this is one of the main important crisis communication for the tourism industry. We need to know that the crises occur at all level of tourism operation with varying degrees of severity in the, for example, for the destination, for the tourist, for the built environment like the superstructure, infrastructure, museum, etc., and also in the operating system of the tourism industry, transportation, accommodation, hotels, food and beverage. So in the all level of the tourism operation, that would this kind of crisis would influence. And the crisis can impact negatively upon the destination image. And yes, because destination image in this kind of in the crisis would be in a very vulnerable situation. The role of DMO is important for designing proper communication strategies and marketing campaigns in the right time. So we need to know, we need to first of all have our communication strategies, and also we need to know when we need to apply and implement these kind of strategies. And also the importance for marketers to have a prepared crisis communication and marketing plan, as the cost of this will be far less than the cost associated with the downturn in visitor confidence and visitation due to a slow response. So maybe we think that, okay, having a crisis communication plan or a strategy would be very expensive, or would not help a lot, but as researchers shows that this not having a proper plan, the cost of not having a proper plan would be more than having one, and because we need to gain the confidence of the visitors and tourists and also their trust. In terms of the crisis communication, we need to also consider several ways to improve our strategy for tourism crisis. And among them, we need to have 3 different groups. We need to involve we need to involve the private and public sectors in our strategies. We need to also have the recovery marketing team. We need to have information coordination team, and also finance and fundraising team. We can take a look to some of the lessons that is recommended by this research. The recovery marketing was considered wasteful until after the outbreak had been defeated, and the lack of crisis management and communication strategy prior to the outbreak hampered recovery. So we need to be careful when we run our recovery marketings. If we are in the middle of the crisis, that would be wasteful to use the recovery marketing and aggressive marketing, and we need to be aware of this. Absence of a crisis communication or management strategy at the local level would be a problem for destinations. So it means that not only for the national level, but also for the local level, we need to have the proper crisis communication. Recovery in the local level is rapid, yes, because in this kind of situations, the trust and confidence of the visitors damaged. It is discussed that local people and the residents or in the local level would be easier to give the confidence back to the visitors and tourists. Access to information is critical for consumers, industry, and local regions. Yes, and the cost of developing a crisis management strategy would be far less than not having one. We discussed this. And also destination image need to be well deserved. So destination image, we need to, with the proper communication, we need to preserve it for our destination and our industry. So these were some insights from the researchers which are helpful for our destination. And I'm going to give you some good practices and taken strategies by destinations. Knowing about what other destinations have done during this crisis, I think would be very beneficial for us to implement better strategies. One of those destinations and countries that I chose to speak about is Portugal. The reason is that Portugal DMO, or Destination Marketing or Management Organization, has been one of the best DMOs in the world in the last couple of years. So this could be helpful for us to know that what they do and what is their response. In terms of the COVID situation in Portugal, as it's shown here in the graphs, actually, the first cases started the 2nd of March in 2020, and the peak, as it's shown here, it was around April 11th, which was around 1,519 cases. And in terms of the daily deaths, the most daily deaths was the 38 deaths in the country. And in the last couple of weeks, it has been less than 10 cases. Turismo de Portugal, which is the DMO of the Portugal, started a campaign which is called the Cant is Keep Hope campaign, and they released a video which is launched in March, the 20th of the March. It was the first week of the lockdown, and they introduced the campaign. I'm going to show you this. This video, it has been viewed about 300,000 times almost in YouTube, more than 80,000 views in Instagram account of DMO of Portugal. And that was very, I think, one of interesting. And that's why I'm going to show you this video. I'm going to, so it is a 2-minute video. I'm playing it.
It's time to stop. It's time to look out for each other in the distance. Time to stare humanity in the eyes. To take a break for the world. It's time to stop. Time to make a pause so we can play again. To think of everyone and meet no one. To reset, recenter, switch off, to move on. Time to change our little world. To calibrate the path of mankind. It's time to stop. We are meant to connect and we are stronger together. But separated, we are today more united than ever. And for now, our main strength is to be apart. It's time to stop. Nature, landscapes, beaches, and monuments aren't going anywhere. They will still be there waiting for a better time to be lived. And we must do the same for a while. It's time to stop. The perfect time not to visit anything. Sometimes to rise is to stand still. It's time to stop. Stop and think of ourselves. Think of everyone else too. It's time to stop and refocus as a whole for all. It's time to understand and respect our times. Respect one another. The faster we stop, the sooner we will bond again. It's time to dream of those amazing days to come. For when those days arrive, we will say again.
So this was the video which is launched by the DMO of Portugal at the beginning of the crisis. And then this was around the 20th of the March, and later in the 16th of June, when they decided to open the country for the tourists, they also launched another video to show that when they cared about, when they started to do the lockdown and they were thinking about the tourists, this time they started to say that, okay, after this difficult time, we opened our country for the tourists, for not every kind of tourist from each country, but for some, I will show it later. So this video is that they started to tell to the different to tell to the tourists that they started again their tourism.
From stop to start, from wonder to wander, from think to thank, from apart to a part, from know to go, from look to book, from hope to opening.
So yes, these two videos from the Cant is Keep the Hope from the Cant is Keep opening was released by DMO of Portugal, and I think is one of the good examples for that. And the other initiative by the Turismo de Portugal is that Clean and Safe Stamp or Certificate Initiative. This is introduced by the Turismo de Portugal in order to give the confidence to the tourists that they are caring about the safety of the tourists in the country, and they want to make them sure that traveling to the country is safe. So this has been released in April 24th, and this was for the hotels, for the travel agencies, for the holiday activities companies, rent-a-car companies, golf courses, service areas for motorhomes, tourist guides, local accommodation, restaurants and cafes, and museums and monument sites. So they introduced this certificate, and they also, by doing this, they wanted to say that this clean and safe stamp is to distinguish tourist activities which are compliant with the hygiene and cleaning requirements for the prevention and control of COVID-19 and other possible infections, and ensuring the tourists for their safety, for sure, in Portugal, keeping the destination image that they are thinking about the cleanliness and the safety of the destination. And this validation is free and optional and is valid for 1 year for the different businesses and enterprises. Implementation of there is also a need and requirement for implementing an internal protocol for those businesses. And the other, I think, a very informative initiative that they have done is the launching an online platform to give information on this initiative. I show you the site here, which is this one, the Portugal Clean and Safe. And if you go there, it has the many information in this regard. For example, you can search for the place, all the type of the enterprises or businesses related with tourism and hospitality, from the restaurants, hotels, and also the cities here that they provide, and all the information related, for example, how many stamps they released, they issued, and how many people they trained to be work in the destination. So all the information they can, everybody can have the access and to check it out. The second initiative by this DMO is that they targeted they started another campaign in order to target a national market. The name of this campaign is Too Polish, which is You Can in English. So they aimed the national market to reopen tourism till international flights begin to fly. And this started in 18th of the June, and that is widely used in their social media and all those content related with the destination. There was also other initiatives by the Turismo de Portugal, which is the one producing content during the COVID-19 pandemic and posting every day in order to remain in the top of the mind of the tourists when they again start to decide to travel to other countries. And also informing about the pandemic situation and frequently asked questions. Here I'm also going to show you, in terms of the frequently asked question, what kind of information they need to know, the tourists, what kind of information tourists need to know in terms of if the public transportation is working, or if they can visit a specific places in the destinations. So all the information, if one tourist can travel to Portugal by different means of the transportation, by land, by sea, or by air, and all this information. And also they are offering a virtual tour, which is another initiative. One of these they are offering the virtual tours. I'm going to also show you some of those websites. This is the Visit Portugal site, the Instagram account. As you see here, they also provided the official resources for travel and tourism in Portugal. Tag your photos with the Visit Portugal, and here the COVID-19 status. So everyone that wants to travel to this country, the Portugal, can have the access to all the information needed in terms of the COVID-19. And the virtual tours, that is another product that they offered during this pandemic. They have some websites that later, probably due to the lack of time, I'm going to discuss about the other things that I'm going to skip this, but you will have the presentations and you can take a look at these websites as well. So they're trying to virtually provide the museum different attractions for the tourists. The second destination that I choose to speak is the Greece. In pandemic situation, Greece has been one of the countries that try to manage well the pandemic situation in the country. So in the last couple of weeks, they have had less than 30 cases in the country, and also in terms of the deaths, the daily deaths, they have less than 200 deaths since the beginning of the pandemic. So they try to properly manage the pandemic situation, which is very good for the destination for after COVID-19. And also they started a campaign similar to Portuguese one, and the campaign's name is Greece from Home. And they are trying to provide many information, virtual tours, many attractions, whatever it is needed for a tourist to visit in a country, in their country. So here I would like to show you this Greece from Home site, which they provided this with all the information they have and all the other components that they can, every tourist have the access, potential tourists have the access to them, and all the YouTube channels. And as you see here, this has been a collaboration between the different parts of different organizations in or in Greece. One of them is the Ministry of Tourism, and the other is the health organization of the country. So yes, this has been, I talked about this, and according to the tourism minister, the Greece from Home platform is a part of the government's overall strategic response to the COVID-19 pandemic. So you will have the access to check out their website as well. There was other initiatives by the European Union and other countries. Some information on trips to the destination. For example, European Union, introduced a trusted web page, which is the Reopen Europa. I'm going to show you that one as well. So here you see the information related with the different countries of the European Union. And if we click on each country, there are the information here in the right side and showing if the travel is restricted or it is possible for which nationalities can go, and all the conditions by the different means of the transportation and so on. So this is also a trusted web page that we can take a look when we want to travel to different part of the European Union. EU opening up to the 14 non-EU low infection countries, but US excluded as expected. And for the Madeira Islands, which we have it in Portugal, but it is not in the continent, it is not in the land, it is an island, will reopen in July 1st, which is reopened already, and will pay for the COVID test. So they are offering a free COVID test. The other country was the other attraction, for example, to Machu Picchu to reopen in July with the quarter daily visitors limitations. And other also many countries such as Singapore and Hong Kong reopen tourism for local, so they are not still opening the country for the international tourists. And Japan to start domestic tourism voucher scheme by July. So this was another initiative by Japanese government. So let's move to the recommendations for India's tourism after giving these two strategies given by two different countries and some other countries' initiatives. I'm going to speak about some data by the Ministry of Tourism for India, as it has shown here. The number of foreign tourists arrivals in India, it seems around 10 million, and it has, like in 2019, the annual growth rate was 5.2%. There was also the number of the non-residents Indians arrival, around 7 million. The number of international tourist arrival in India, so is the 17 million almost. And the foreign tourist arrival by mode of transport. The main mode of transport for the tourist arrivals to India is the air, which is almost 80%, and the land for the 20, and the sea is the 80%, 0.8%. And in terms of the market, foreign tourist arrivals from top 15 source markets, the Bangladesh is the almost 21% of the market. United States is the second, and United Kingdom, Sri Lanka, and Canada. So these are five main source markets for the Indian tourism, and also the number of domestic tourists that is shown here. It is relatively high for the country. So what we can say for the recommendation for the India's tourism, first I would say that the communication strategy by national body of tourism or the DMO is needed, and it is kind of necessary for the tourist for the destination, as we discussed, and the researchers also prove this. Avoiding aggressive marketing until during this pandemic, until the outbreak continues. So we need to avoid our aggressive marketings and implementing safety and cleanliness plans to give confidence to tourists. So we need to make them sure that we are safe in terms of we are working in terms of the safety and cleanliness. The other thing is about the running communication or marketing campaigns in the national and local destination levels. As we discussed with the other countries, they have done somehow successfully, and collaborating with health organizations within country for implementing the essential plans. So every country for the crisis management, different body of the government, the body of the country need to be get together in order to manage the country, and the tourism sector is not a part. Targeting national or domestic tourists as a short-term solution to keep related sector working. So as it has, the data shows that the domestic or the internal tourism in India has a big market. So probably for the short term, the targeting the national one would be beneficial for keeping up the different businesses and enterprises. And offering free virtual tours for the traditional markets during COVID pandemic. This would be useful in order to keep the destination brand in the top of the mind of these traditional markets, and also it shows that the tourism sector of the country gives importance of the tourists are very visible for them. And also offering incentives for the VFR or visiting friends and relatives tourism after reopening. For Indians, for example, living abroad would be another option after COVID, because probably those who know well the country their confidence and trust will get back sooner than the others. There are also other sources for this study. Actually, I'm going to finish the lecture with these recommendations. UNWTO released the COVID-19 technical assistance package for the tourism recovery for the different for all the destinations. So you can have the access from their site. They are introducing some policies and measures to be introduced to stimulate the economic recovery of the tourism sector. And in terms of the development impacts of the needs assessment and country-specific plans, each country needs to get the specific plan for their destinations, and to identifying markets that can help accelerate recovery, addressing product diversification, and reformulating marketing strategies and promotional activities. Also, as always, the tourism for sustainable development. Sustainability has been very important for UNWTO in the last couple of years, and that is also something that they emphasize to do while in doing the recovery plans. So here actually we have all those information related, which you have the link and you have the access, so you will be able to see what they offer for the destinations. So I would like to give the speech to Dr. Jeet, and I would like first of all thank you for listening to this lecture, and then I'm here with you to discuss if there is any questions. And so. Dr. Jeet.
Thank you, Dr. Wahid, about the initiative that you shared regarding the Portugal trees and the important lessons for India. Now, after this, the next that we have to do the question and answer sessions. Although the people are still writing the questions over there, so let me share the slides so that will help to address the questions over there. Just a second. I hope it's visible. Let's start with the question and answer sessions from the participants. The first question. Could you please explain what were the conditions to get clean and safe certificate and how it was issued? I think you shared about that initiative, and there are few queries from the participants like how they can join, or can you elaborate upon that? Over to Dr. Wahid.
Yes, in terms of the clean and safe certificate, it has certain conditions for the tourism businesses and enterprises, and also they need to have an internal protocol. So they need to first of all request this, and then they need to always they need to be updated by the new information by the government and by the Ministry of Health, and which coordinated with the Tourism of the Portugal. So yeah, it has a specific conditions, and they need to meet these conditions, and all the time they need to be updated during this pandemic, and all information and all changes, for example, their opening hours or any changes during this pandemic, they are informed by the Tourism of the Portugal.
Thank you, Dr. Wahid. Let's move on to the next question. Question 2. How destination management can be done digitally in an effective manner? And this question is by Jayesh Divedi. I think Jayesh is also there. Jayesh, can you say hello to Dr. Wahid so that Dr. Wahid will reply to your question? Okay, fine. Dr. Wahid, please carry on.
So in terms of this question, probably it is a general question, but how can be done digitally in an effective manner? In terms of Portugal, I have seen that in the different social medias, they are, since the beginning of the pandemic, they are posting the different information, like different content every day. So this will help to the tourists to not get connected with the actually to maintain the connection between the tourists and the destination. So in this case, I would say that probably very specific content for the situation, and also some related content with the situation, I think would help to effectively manage the digital content in this COVID pandemic situation.
Thank you, Dr. Wahid. So let's move on to the next question. Question 3. As every country have already introduced many strategies for destination marketing, what are the new strategies the DMOs across the world should come up in order to promote their destination post-COVID? This question is by our BBA student, very enthusiastic, and he's also the class representative, Ms. Raman Raj. I think he's there. Okay,
Yes,
over to you, Dr. Bhatt.
Yes, I think that we talked about this during the lecture, but I think that would be specific for every country to try to find the best strategies according to the COVID pandemic situation. So I think probably as the UNWTO offers, every country will have specific requirements for coping and dealing with this situation. So I think it's mostly dependent, it is mostly related with the country's situation in this crisis, and that would be specific according to the different aspects of the country's tourism.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next question. Question 4, I think it's already replied on that. So that again related to that program that you talked about. So by skipping this question, and you already replied with that, let's move on to the question 5. So I understand that Portugal has put in place good strategies, but how are they getting feedback that their strategies are really working and boosting confidence for a visitor? This is question from the UK, Dr. Yuvraj. Over to you, Dr.
Thank you for this question. It is very good, actually, question. I would say that yes, the index, the managerial index would be very important after running the campaigns. Probably now it is very soon to speak about how the campaigns were successful or they have not successful. They were not successful. So I think this is something that we need. It will remain to be seen in the future, because now the countries' borders are not open yet for many different countries, and I think this is something that later we can discuss.
Just one more question over there, and the last one. Many countries will or are expected to have a second wave or many local lockdowns, as in Australia, Israel, etc. What would be your future recommendations in such cases?
Excuse me, would you please repeat that, Dr. Jeet?
The second question from the same Dr. Yuvraj, that many countries will or are expected to have a second wave of lockdowns. We're talking about the countries like Australia, Israel. What would be your future recommendations in this case? I think it's talking about that how we have to launch these strategies and taking the feedbacks to boosting confidence for visitors. So this is what he's talking about that in that question.
Yes, actually, probably that is a difficult question to answer, but probably the maintaining the destination image, and I would say the honest information would help to the destinations to recover sooner than the others after the COVID pandemic. Probably I would say that this is also important for the crisis communication, and as much as it is the transparent for the others, for the tourists, potential tourists, I think that they will be able to recover quickly than the other countries.
Thank you, Dr. Wahid, for the questions. As we have already time constraints, so we are not able to take all the questions. Now, after this question and answer session, now I'm inviting Dr. Chandrasekhar Barua from IITTM. He is also the chairperson MBA program and a senior faculty in IITTM Gwalior. For the formal vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jeet Dogra from IITTM Gwalior. As he already introduced my name, once again, myself is Dr. Chandrasekhar Barua. I'm again welcoming and special thanks to Professor Vahid from the city of a great singer, Mia Tansen, who was during the 16th century. So his mausoleum is in Gwalior. IITTM, the institute from where we are talking, headquarters is in Gwalior. So once again, I'm saying special thanks to Dr. Vahid Ghasemi sir from Portugal, who shared his valuable time with a very knowledgeable session with a brief presentation on destination marketing during and after the COVID-19. We are very happy and especially thanks on behalf of all the viewers that you have presented very brief on the crisis life cycle, 5 points, crisis communication plan, and other initiatives also. As well as I'm also very happy to share you that in India also, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, the Department of Tourism, which is headed by the present Tourism Minister, Sri Prahlad Singh Ji Patel, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India at national level, they are working on 7-point agenda to overcome and to re-establish the tourism business in India. I'm just sharing with you 7 key words and I'll translate also. The first is Swagat, that is welcome, to re-establish the tourism. Number 2, Suchna, that is information. Third is word Suvidha, that is facility. Or maybe number 4 yes, Sahayata, that is the assistance. Can be Sahyog, cooperation, that is synonym of that. Number 5 is Samrachna in Hindi, that means the infrastructure. And last 2 are Suraksha, which you already discussed in your session. Suraksha means safety. And the last one is Safai, that is cleanliness. So we all people in India, as a citizen of India, are working on the same. And really, we are very thankful to you and all the participants, my all colleagues from Noida, from Bhubaneswar, from Nellore, from Goa, as well as from my Gwalior. Many students, also research scholars, they all attended. Print and electronic media, they are also attended this session. And at the last, I want to thanks to Director IITTM, Professor Alok Sharma sir, with his all initiatives. Today we are completing the 5th International Web Lecture Series, and definitely this will end and this will give a lot of knowledge to young people, those who are keen interested to come in tourism business, tourism education. I'm also very happy to share IIT team is also in tourism education, tourism research, and tourism consultancy. I want to share we are running 3 years at present tourism graduation program and 2 years master's degree. So I want to share everyone, please visit IITTM website. Thank you so much. I wish you good day and goodbye all of you. Namaskar. On behalf of IITTM family, namaskar to all.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for the official vote of thanks. Now, it's just for the information to all the participants. Please keep check this chat box, because we are having the all recording of all the lectures on our official YouTube channel. The links already pass on to you on your chat box. Please check it. And just for your information, the next lecture will be delivered on the title Hospitality and Tourism Industry After COVID-19 by Dr. Frank C. Tsai from Slippery Rock University, Pennsylvania, USA on July 18, 2020 at 6 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Unfortunately, Dr. Frank is just engaged in some other assignment. Otherwise, will definitely introduce himself over there. With these words, I'm just taking and thanks to everyone for your active participation. Your participation is really a motivating factor for us, and IITTM being the apex body under Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. So we'll keep doing these kind of activities. For all information, please check our website, iittm.ac.in regularly, and our other social media channels and YouTube channel. With these words, now I'm signing off, and